insight on that huge comeback win by Dignitas.
Thanks, Riv. An exciting game, to say the least. I know our hearts were pounding. There was a little bit of yelling at the screens here as well. A pretty huge comeback there for Dig, and much needed in order to keep rolling that momentum through the series. But I want to start at the beginning before we get into all the craziness that happened at the end of the game. Let's look at champion select, because we saw Dignitas make one major change from their first game when they were on red side, which is now banning Maokai instead of Nidalee and giving that Nidalee up, which Seraph ended up performing pretty well on. So is there a little bit of fear there when we know that Seraph is this huge like solo queue monster on Nidalee? He's famed for that play?
I think they were able to handle it. Like, he did get behind early on Zion Spartan's side, but the thing that really spoke to me in picks and bans was the trading of the Ziggs ban for the Syndra ban. Like, Pobelter and I, we talked about how the Syndra is just such a contested pick, but then it kind of knocked Ziggs out of his place there in Champ Select, and then we showed how powerful Ziggs is in that matchup. He actually ended up having about 100 CS more than Zilean, and I think that's really what dictated champion select for me. It wasn't really the Nidalee got through, because the CLG keeps getting in this position where it's you either pick Nidalee or Maokai, like you said. They're going to get one of them if they're blue side. It's how it goes.
I think Shifter's shown like time and time again that he can pretty much 1v5 carry as Ziggs, so I think we'll definitely be seeing that returning to the bans on CLG side next game.
Yeah, you'd have to expect, especially since Ziggs is one of the primary reasons that they were able to keep the game extended that long with the wave clear that they had. Another thing that was very interesting about this game is the fact that it was a pretty quick, aggressive game in the early stages of the game. Within 16 minutes, there were 8 turrets down across the map, which is a little bit different than we had seen in the previous matches, where there was a little bit more, you know, dancing around Dragon, trading kills, farming up in lanes. Why was this game so much more aggressive, Pobelter?
CLG was just able to break open top lane, of course, after Nidalee already being very ahead in lane. Then Link came up for the roam and got 2 kills, so they were able to get that inner turret very quickly. And from there, Nidalee came mid. They got the really good Aphromoo Leona engage that stunned 3 people, and then they were able to break both those turrets mid. And then bottom, Tristana was just like split pushing that entire time. So that explains how the map was opened up so quickly.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of farm put onto that Tristana. Got 2 kills pretty early, which definitely helped with that late game hyper carry. Another interesting thing about it, though, is the fact that we saw both Leona and Jinx come out. Where do those picks come from? Because we still saw Kog'Maw on the table. We still had Braum available, which Aphromoo likes. So why Leona and Jinx?
Aphromoo absolutely loves Leona. And the fact that they needed a heavy engaged champion, I'm going to hark back to last game where he was playing Zilean, he couldn't engage at all. He could basically just speed somebody up to do it for him, but they didn't have a hard engaged type champion. Aphromoo showed his prowess with these engaged champions in that engaged mid that you were talking about, where he got a 3-man stun, which I thought was absolutely the perfect and the right idea for them to go with a champion like that. I think the Jinx came out, though, because they needed to push down these turrets very quickly in that mid game so that they could take advantage of the Tristana being down. Of course, it didn't work because she got some early kills, but they can continue to push these turrets, and they got 6 very quickly. And then the thing about Jinx, though, in this composition is you can also just put your ultimate on her from Zilean, and then she'll come back and you'll be fine. You can continue to push down. So I think that was the idea here, was to get Double Lift going ahead of Cutie Pie, because that's what's happened every game, is he's had about 100 CS lead on him, or about 60, somewhere in between those two numbers. But this game, they actually stayed toe-to-toe.
All right, let's look at the mid lane matchup just for a second. We saw Zilean against Ziggs, and when we were in Champ Select, Pobelter, you were saying that Zilean is actually a pretty decent counter to Ziggs if played correctly. So can you tell me a little bit about that matchup?
Yeah, I guess it's actually a skill matchup, but the Zilean has to be more skilled to pull it off. If you can dodge all the Ziggs Qs and make sure you last hit well, which is actually very difficult with Zilean's really awful auto attack animation, then I think that you can come ahead in the lane. But maybe he has land jitters, or he just wasn't able to dodge the early Ziggs Qs, so he just kind of went for split farm. And of course, Ziggs will win out on that, having better wave push.
And that's not to knock Link's play. He actually had 11 of the 12 kills at one point in the game in terms of kill participation. He was 3-0-8, so pretty standard, pretty good play there by Link on that Zilean. It just didn't seem to be enough. Now I want to jump, though, to the point where Dignitas turned everything around. So we're going to hop into a replay here. About 30 minutes in the bot. It's on Dignitas' bot lane inhib turret. Pobelter, if you can go ahead and walk through the initiation here that Kiwi Kid gets.
All right, we can roll the clip, and then we'll see Kiwi Kid landing a hook on the double lift. And Dexter and Aphromu are still in front of him, so when he goes in, he plants down the box, and he's able to get it on all three perfectly. Zilean's trying to get down to get the ult onto Doublelift before he dies, but he's inside the base, and he gets zoned out by Cutie Pie. And then from here, like, Zilean's still just like inside the base. Tristana and Ziggs have still survived, and then CLG kind of overextends, and then they just get chased down. Both of Dignitas' carries flash in, and from here, they're just cleanup.
Yeah, and I think a big thing of that, too, is that Dexter jumped in afterwards to the carries that were peeling backwards already and actually afraid of the fight, and that kind of reopened it up for them to go aggressive.
So what should CLG done differently in that situation? Because they had all the tools to win that game there. They had 2 inhibs down. They're sieging up here on the bottom turret. I mean, I guess the easy answer is don't get hooked by Thresh if you're the Jinx hyper carry. But there's got to be, you know, another aspect of that in terms of playing a safer win condition.
Oh, sorry. Doublelift, he did make a mistake getting caught there, but Link was also in a poor position. As Zilean, you need to be in the position to protect your carries, and he was not in a position to be able to ult him so that he could go aggressively and not be worried about dying. Instead, he had to play very carefully and take damage from the long range of Tristana and Ziggs, which both outrange him, and then that ultimately lost him the fight.
Zyrian, did you have something you wanted to add there? Or
no, that's how you handle it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure you had your time to talk. I want to jump now, though, into the second replay, which is essentially a minute or so later when CLG decides, let's just go try it again. And they go right back down to the bot lane. And so I want to pull this up onto your screen. And this time, Zyrian, you can go ahead and walk us through this one.
Back to the scene of the crime here, where Doublelift once again gets caught, this time not by a hook. We're going to roll the clip out here. Aphromu actually, before this clip started, he's sitting by that wall for a very long time. I don't know what was going on with him, but the kick from Doublelift, or from Crumbs onto Doublelift into the team just completely obliterates him. He gets hit into the Mega Inferno Bomb, which is beautiful. It is beautiful play there, which turns this game completely around. We were going crazy here at the desk when this went down. And then they chase down Seraph, they pick him up, and then they just storm down the mid lane. They get themselves that inhibitor turret. They crack the base for the first time in the game. They get the inhibitor, and I know. It's like, we're sitting here like, all right, so CLG, what are we going to talk about? It's like, Dignitas, no, turn it around.
it did seem like only a matter of time until CLG won there, but I have to just point out again what you said. The Buster shot into the Ziggs ult was pretty fabulous just to finish the Jinx off there. Well, so now we're 2-1 in the series. CLG had a game and it slipped right out of their hands, right? We were even saying that all 3 games at one point were winnable games for CLG. So that has to weigh on your conscience a little bit. And now you lose one more, you're facing relegation. So the pressure is mounting at this point. What are the steps to regroup, to get some composure, and to kind of leave all that stuff off the Rift? Zyrian?
You'd really hope right now that you had an in-person coach to talk to you in between the games, get you guys level-headed, tell you what to do for the next game, and get you out there in a good situation where you are confident in your picks and bans, you're confident in your win conditions, and you know just what you're going to do and stick to the plan. That's really what it is. You know, the clear calls, good plans, just do that and just treat it like another game. Because it is your do-or-die game to go into relegations. There's a lot of pressure because your back's against the wall, but you kind of have to just calm down and approach it as if it's just another game that you guys are going to win because you know how to win games. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes people freak out. They freak out when they're in this situation. The pressure's on, and you will feel it from a subconscious area. You'll be very psychosomatic, and you'll be freaking yourself out. But you just have to calm down and take it as a game.
Yeah, well, when we return, we'll see if Dignitas can close the series out or if CLG take it to Game 5. Then, coming up, we'll get into our international wildcard contenders in action. And here we have Latin American team PAX Gaming doing their homework and Brazilian team Kaboom Esports getting ready to battle for a spot at World Finals. The action continues after this.